that awful? Hi everyone, I'm Elizabeth from Perfect Moms. I have with me today Robin Glantz, and we were talking about nourishing a good relationship with food. So we're just going to go over a really quick synopsis of what that was today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post in Perfect Moms or on this underneath in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer them. So welcome, Robin.
Thank you. So yes, I'm a registered dietitian, and I work with a lot of families, children of all ages and adults as well. And what I see is of the utmost importance. We sometimes really get caught up in the details of feeding our kids day to day. How much did they eat? Oh my goodness, they didn't eat any of the vegetables I introduced, and it could be quite overwhelming. So I like to kind of give a big picture idea of feeding children, to look at the big picture of developing healthy relationships with food in the long run.
Right.
Because that's the thing, is that the single most important factor we see in raising children with good, happy, healthy relationships with food is not how much fruits or vegetables or whole grains they eat. It's actually eating dinner as a family, or meals as a family, not necessarily dinner. Children who eat more meals as a family, that wonderful sharing environment, tend to grow these wonderful habits. So we want to protect that and not have the dinner table become a battleground.
I think that was one of the most important things that I learned about was portion sizes. I think that we try to push on our children things that they're supposed to be eating and a huge amount of what they're supposed to be eating, rather than just focusing on what their actual portion should be. So if you could just run over really quickly what a normal portion size would be.
Well, sure. First of all, I want to make it quite clear. I'll give an idea of what a portion size is, but that's the thing, is that children, like all people, especially young children, they know their own appetites. Really, that should be our guide in how receptive they are to eating, because some days they're going to be hungrier than others, some days they're not going to be hungry, and we have to use that as a rule of thumb. But just to know, I usually use the hand technique for children, but also for adults, of what is technically enough for a seating. And so your child's fist, or your own fist, is technically what we would consider a portion of fruits, vegetables, or grains.
Right.
And their little palm is technically how much meat or protein that they would, in a sitting, they could eat. Of course, if they're hungrier and they eat more, that is fine. But just to kind of gauge, when we say, my child is not eating anything, what is normal for them is actually quite small.
Right. Yeah. Is that also true for an adult? Would be the size of your palm?
Technically, yeah.
Right. And then the other thing that I found that was really interesting was exposures. You can't necessarily tell that a child doesn't like a food until you've exposed them a certain amount of times, and what that exposure exactly is. If you could just go over that really quickly as well.
Well, that's it. Sometimes we think, if our child, I gave the example of broccoli, typical example. If we served our child broccoli and they threw it on the floor, that we could say that our child doesn't like broccoli.
Right.
This couldn't be further from the truth. Children don't know, they're not very familiar with a vast array of textures and foods after coming from having had just milk for 6 months.
Right.
So it could take 15 to 20 separate exposures, not even tastes of a new food, before we could say they don't like it. So that first day that they saw the broccoli, they heard mom and dad say, "This is broccoli." They saw mom and dad eat the broccoli without dropping dead. That is them now knowing that broccoli looks like this, smells like this, and doesn't kill me.
Right.
The next time they may touch that broccoli, they may go so far as to put it in their mouth and spit it out. They now know what it tastes like and feels like. This is one step closer to familiarization. Eventually, that broccoli will become familiar and may actually be learned to be enjoyed. But if we just don't give it to them, or if we blend it up and hide it in foods to try to trick them, they will never get that chance to come around to broccoli.
Right, so that essentially wouldn't even be an exposure. That would just be trying to trick our children into eating it in a way. Yeah.
Now, it's all fine to add fruits and veggies into foods to get more nutrients in it. I'm fine with that, but you always want to expose the child to the food in its true form, so that they could familiarize themselves with it.
Well, I think that these are some really great tips. Again, if you have any questions, I think that you can always go to the Facebook page, Perfect Moms. Robin Glantz Nutrition is going to be marked on the page. You're more than welcome to click on that. And Robin will just give you a quick little insight on how to reach her if you want any of her professional services as well.
Well, thank you very much. Please do. I post every week on my Facebook page, Robin Glantz Nutrition, tips, recipes, articles, small videos to help everyone out in figuring out this confusing world of food and nutrition for all ages. And all my recipes, which are all very simple, healthy, easy to do are on my website as well, robinglancenutrition.com.
Thank you so much for coming out,
My
and I
pleasure.
look forward to your next presentation, if we can sneak you in.
Wonderful.
Bye, everybody.